Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Ben Jones here in my home workshop again. We're going to talk about coffee. It's Tuesday. Hope everyone had a nice long weekend, Memorial Day weekend, doing all the memorializing. Anyway, I want to talk a little bit about some pour over coffee. We're going to do a little bit different than I normally do. I want to show you what it looks like from my perspective, brewing down on a cup of coffee. Because when we're just showing you the sideways view, there's only so much you can really see. I want you to actually see kind of what's happening up top. So it's going to dilly-dally for a moment, and then I'll flip this phone around and show you what it looks like to brew a cup of coffee from start to finish. Good morning to everyone who's joining us. All right, let's. Oh, I forgot. This one doesn't flip around because we're on the other format. All right, so there we go. All right, this is my coffee corner here. I'm going to be using the Bee House dripper, very similar to the standard litte cone. I like to use the ceramic. So because once you get it hot, it'll help retain some heat. All right, I'm gonna start. So grab the lid off my grinder, put it on my scale, and let's get the scale turned on. And while that's waking up, I'm going to come over and I want to make a selection of coffee. Today, let's brew with some of that Ethiopia. This is a natural processed coffee. This is our new single origin here. I've got my water in the kettle already heating. It's holding at 204 degrees. And I'm just going to open up that Guji. There we go. Some nice coffee beans in there. It smells really great. I'm just going to sprinkle in. I want looking for 19 grams coffee is our goal. Now we're 18. There's little heavy. I'm going to pull 19 on the dot. That's great. If we're a little over, a little under, not that big a deal. But we want to be, if we can hit 19, let's do it. All right, so I'll take this. I'm going to put it back into my grinder. I'm just kind of right. Here's our indicator. I'm right in the middle, just shy of the center. And I'll push the start button. All right, so we have our coffee ground. Thank you for bearing with me while it does that. I'm gonna pull my filter out, and these creases here, I like to fold that one up. A little tricky one-handed. Then I flip it over and I fold that up. And again, folding the creases really just kind of helps it sit inside of our brewer. There's this, like that. Put that in. And I'll just set it. All right, here I'm just gonna put I have my diner mug. So I like these thick, chunky diner mugs. They're pretty fun. That one holds 10 ounces, and I know that my 19 grams is about right for the 10-ounce mug. Take my kettle. I'm just going to wet that filter so we get the rinse. That little rinse is nice, washes out that paper flavor. It's also going to help. There we go. That also helps to pin the. Sorry, we keep having little disconnects. Rinsing out that filter just helps to pin it to the brewer itself. The water that's in here, it's going to taste like paper. I don't need that. I'm just going to pour it out. I don't have a sink in my shop, so I just use a little cup on the side. Put that there. It's weighing out at 855.1 gram. It's going to tear that, so we're zeroed. Got my fresh ground coffee. We'll just sprinkle that in there. We're reading 18.9. You lose a little bit to the inside. Try to get that all in there. There we go. We're 19 grams, 19.1. So I got a little So what I really want to do here is I really want to let everybody see I want you all to be able to see the delivery of the water. When you this scale, I can set it to do a timer as well. So I'm going to come back here, grab my kettle. All right. We're going to start. I'm going to add about 40 grams of water. This is my bloom. Make sure I get everything nice and wet. Bring it up to 35 to 40 grams. Now those big bubbles, that's not degassing. Unfortunately, that's a dry spot. So I don't typically like to chopstick it, but a little stir with that. That'll help break that up. Typically takes about 30 seconds for that bloom. And then here's the reason we use kettles. If I just add water like that, there's a lot of coffee that's not getting wet. So I just want to start in the middle and we move it around, target those dark spots. We're just trying to break up the dark crust. I don't want to add water too fast. Try to keep those colors uniform. Just enough to get everything nice and saturated there. So we're up to about 127 grams. My target water on this is about 323 grams if we went with the proper 17 to 1 ratio. Once it starts getting low, I'm just going to come back. Let's add some more. Don't be nervous on most pour-overs to hit the edges. There are a few, if you're using a V60, that's this little fella right here, has that really big hole in the bottom. With those, I'd be a little more cautious about pouring down the side. But on the B house, it has two little tiny holes in the bottom, restricts the open flow of water, excuse me, and it allows us to pour down the side of the filter without getting that huge bypass. I've got about 70 grams of water left to add in. I'm going to come over here and let's grab. So you can see there the two holes in the bottom. Those two holes are going to help to restrict that flow. Keep the water holding back. All right, we'll just come back here. And again, with that kettle, the pour pattern, little spiral type action inside to out is nice. Sometimes, people do this. That's good too. There's nothing super magic about the specific pour pattern. What we really care about is evenly wetting everything, trying to keep our turbulence consistent, trying to hit our target water weight, and not let that water rise too fast. You can see there's a lot of, there's a good deal of clean filter on there. I wanted to try to keep the water level low, just really let the water sit with the coffee, but not have it be too terribly long in that. I'm hitting about 3.5 minutes on here, and you can see it's just starting to come out. Not trying to make excuses, but it's hard to do this when you're holding a camera, and you should hire a little camera crew. So we want to look at the bed, and as the water dropped, I saw these parts here first. It's kind of like the mountains of Hawaii peeking out of the ocean, right? And then down here a little bit lower. So we had a somewhat uneven extraction just because these came out of the water first and this stuff over here sat a little bit longer. Not perfect, but it's gonna be pretty okay. We don't need to be nitpicky about all those things unless you're shooting for that perfectly consistent, want to make that same cup of coffee every time. So here's my coffee. I'll just pull off my dripper, set it there on the cloth, and I have a nice mug of our Ethiopia Guji. This is a natural processed coffee. So for those of you who are unfamiliar, Natural versus washed, somewhat misleading terms. Washed implies that there's a dirty version, not always true. This just means that the washed coffee, let's flip that back around, here we go, all right. A washed coffee is just when we use water to wash the fruit. They pull the fruit off the seed right away, and water is used to clean it off to help with the loosening up. A natural processed coffee, you could argue it's a more natural process, maybe. Leaving the fruit on the coffee seed, they let it dry. This one is a natural coffee, just means that that fruit stayed on till it was dried, then the fruit was pulled off after it dried like a raisin, and that gives this coffee a incredibly fruity tone. This coffee right now tastes like blueberry muffin. Slightly toasted bread, that blueberry in there. That slight sweetness you get, it's pretty solid. If I want to make this coffee again, I just mark my grind setting, weigh up my same dose of beans, and try to keep things nice and consistent. It's a good cup of coffee. A little more casual video today. I like to keep things kind of casual. I mean, I'm in my workshop, so it's a pretty casual space anyway. That's a good cup of coffee. So anyway, Ethiopia Guji. Let me show you the bag there. This is the bag. You can get your own if you go to batdorfcoffee.com. It has real nice fruity flavors to it. Good subtle, slight bit of like that toasted bread. Yeah, it's pretty tasty. Batdorfcoffee.com. Use the code WatchAndLearn10. That's the number 10. Put it all together. Phrase is one solid word. Watch and Learn 10. That's going to give you 10% off on whatever coffee you buy. If you need a brewer, like let's say you don't have a pour-over, we've got plastic cones. Real good value there. They're cheap. They're inexpensive. Really kind of lets you brew some coffee without taking the big dive into investing. Buy that brewer, it gets you 25% off a bag of Dancing Goats, which is delicious. All right, I'm just gonna sit here and kind of mellow out. It's a good Tuesday morning cup of coffee. All right. I hope y'all are having a good day. I'm having a good day. Start out with some coffee. Hope to see you back. I don't know what's going on tomorrow with Josh. Not sure what Brennan has going on. I know the two of them are in a meeting right now, which is why you get to see me on a Tuesday. Yeah. Remember, the best cup of coffee is the one you want to finish. And however you like to go about that, you know, whether you're using a B-House dripper, AeroPress, Chemex, whatever you happen to like using the most, they're all right answers. People often ask me what my favorite coffee is. I don't have favorites. I really like coffee out of Colombia, so our Las Brisas, I would be buying that for myself. But, of course, you might not like it as much. Maybe you go for the Bohemian blend. I've got some of that brewing back there. Maybe the Guji's your go-to. You like that natural fruitiness. Do it. We got a lot of options, a lot of great coffees. Maybe this Friday I'll talk about aligning coffee choices with preferences. Could be something kind of fun. All right, this is that point in the videos where I just talk randomly about nothing that's really relevant. And I sip on my coffee. It was good to stand here with you for a few minutes, and yeah, let me know how coffee's going. Hit up in the comments to let us know what you're doing. It's good to know that people are out there still watching these. and I hope to see you all in real life soon. All right, take care.